Welcome to UK GK TV. I'm Bill Voice, and this is my friend
Dave Nicholson.
You've seen us before. Today is a kind of a I am not worthy moment, Dave, because it's about Ray Harryhausen, and whenever I think Ray Harryhausen, it brings to me so much joy and also so much appreciation, because I think he's had a massive effect, not just on the world of cinema, but I think in terms of garage kits too, because there's hundreds of garage kits which represent his work. I'm right on that one.
Yeah. It's got Ray Harryhausen is kind of like, it's like the next gen from the Universal Monsters. It takes it to a next level, and I guess it's very well represented over here and in Europe, and to be fair, in the United States of America. And fortunately, we did a limited edition a couple of years ago, which Bill will talk about it shortly. But he's going to briefly ask you some bits and pieces. There it is. There's the Ray Harryhausen one.
There's sadly no longer available. Am I right?
It's sold out within a week. We only did a limited run of it. It sold out. The main figure of Ray himself. It came with two heads, and the main figure was sculpted by a guy called Steve Thompson, whose likeness is a second to none. And he came in. It was drafted in to do the actual creations, and then Paul finished off the base. So this was our first venture into mixed media hybrids kits. Straight away the concept sold out. It is available on the secondary market, but we don't offer it anymore. But the only reason being is because the actual monsters themselves are very time consuming, and it's not fair to the guys that bought into the limited run. There is going to be this year another tribute style kit. It's not Ray Harryhausen, it's a different subject, but we're going to be doing another sort of super duper kit just for your collectors.
Same format, yeah.
Similar. Very similar. We're taking it to the dead. If you look at this kit, I personally obviously drew inspiration, and then the idea came to me because Mike Hill, one of the best sculptors, did an actual life-size one of Ray in the chair. So it's inspired by Mike. So kudos to Mike, because Mike's an absolute genius. When I seen his life-size one of Ray eating a biscuit and the skeletons, I think it was, I thought, it'd be great if we did it in 1/6. So it has it's a big nod to Mike. So big respect for Mike. It's there. So it's Steve, Andy Copeland, and Paul Fay all worked on that one. It's gone now, sadly, but you can't. A few pop up on eBay occasionally.
Right, so there's Ray. I've done my homework, as you can see. I've got lots of coloured cards. There's Ray animating skeleton there from Jason the Argonauts, and at the top with a selection of his monsters. And I think that's what I liked about him, is that he was a really multi-talented guy, because he made the creatures, he did the animation, he did the cinematography where he blended the creatures with the backgrounds, he did all the model making. Guy was a genius, has to be said. Lived a very modest life, particularly towards the end. He lived in London, even though he's an American. Lived in London, very, very sort of like modest guy. And that image of him drinking a cup of tea is very much like what people say about him. Eating a biscuit, drinking a cup of tea. That was his pleasure. Suburban London at the end of his days, just taking his time.
So where did it all start for him? What happened?
Well, it's all started where it starts for a lot of us when it comes to monster movies, and we all recognise that poster.
King Kong.
There you go, the King Kong poster.
Can't beat a Kong, can you?
King Kong, giant gorilla, fighting with dinosaurs.
Brilliant.
Mashing up people.
Love it.
It's got to be done, hasn't it?
Can I ask you a question?
Go on.
The original one or the 2005?
Original?
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. The original, so it's black and white. It's like watching a dream. It's like...
I like the Pete Jackson one.
I mean, Pete Jackson one, don't get me wrong, I loved it. I thought it was really good.
I'm kind of not so keen on the newer Kongs. Skull Island, but I like
superhero in it.
I like the Pete Jackson one. I quite like that.
But the guy that started it all for Harryhausen was a guy called Willis O'Brien, who was famous for doing adventure movies and including animation in these movies. So movies like Man and His Mate, King Kong, they all had a little bit of animation in them, particularly dinosaurs. There was Willis O'Brien, I think, did the original Lost World way back in Silent Days. So when King Kong came out, Harryhausen saw it as a kid, and he was just blown away, and that made him want to do.
So that was his inspiration.
And he was in touch with Willis O'Brien, and they were were friends at one point. So, this was the inspiration for him to get to Hollywood and get into film.
So what was his first success then?
Well, his first thing he did was Mighty Joe Young, which you remember is like a kind of a cut down Kong, isn't it? It's
Mighty Joe was great.
Yeah, and it's got that really good scene where he fights a lion and also climbs up that burning building to rescue those kids from the orphanage. Now, if you think about that, I mean, people accepted stop motion for years and years and years. They knew they even though it's not quite real, people accepted it as an effect, and people sort of suspended their disbelief when they saw it. So when you looked at Mighty Joe Young, and it's an incredible movie because it's the amount of sort of Kong takes like a back role in the sense he's in the background, as are the dinosaurs, whereas in Mighty Joe Young, the animation of the animal itself is very much within the sort of sphere of the human activity.
Can you remember that model kit of Mighty Joe Young fighting the two? I had it. He's fighting the two lions. I think that was resin from the grave. Oh, I loved it. I had to get when I seen that. I had to have that, and he's kind of punching them and he's giving them a right. Oh, I loved it, Bill.
I mean, it's a great movie, and it's kind of like I say, it's like a cut down Kong, but it's got that human interaction which Harryhausen is famous for. He took the animation and put it amongst the actors as opposed to it just being part of the background, and I think that was his expertise. And then he did a sort of Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, which is based on a story by Ray Bradbury, and then he did It Came From Beneath the Sea, which was a giant octopus. They were basically the same movie with two different dinosaurs. Well, one had a dinosaur, I think it's called a Reredosaurus, I think it's called, and it's available from, I think Star Ace, which is a beautiful one. I've got that at home. It's absolutely fantastic, So it's available from Star Ace, and It Came From Beneath the Sea. It's basically a big octopus. Same film, big octopus.
Right.
And a lot of the animation involves moving the tentacles about, which is really laborious, which is why Harryhausen never made that many movies. He only made, give or take, 16 movies because the technique he used was so laborious and he liked to work on his own. He was like a real sort of loner when it came to.
So he did all that himself?
Most of it, yeah. He very rarely involved anybody else in the actual direct animation, because the idea is he had a screen with the model in front. He played one still of the movie, moved the thing, took a picture of all of it in different layers. So when you see it, you've got like a depth on there, and it's called back projection. You best look it up. I'm not going to go into the technicalities of it, but I think is it 13 frames a second he took to get it to move? Something ridiculous. Like
no idea, Bill. What was his best then? What would you think, in your humble opinion, was his greatest achievement? Well,
his greatest achievement that most people would agree was his greatest achievement was this film, Jason and the Argonauts.
Oh, Jason.
See, there you go. I mean, if you just look at that card there, you've got the poster, but you've got Talos, you've got the Gorgon, you've got Children of the Hydra, known as the Skeleton Fight. I mean, you can't. I mean, these are fantastic. I mean, that's a movie that covers everything. It's got plot, it's got a really good script, it's got fantastic effects, it's got great actors. There's a couple of let's just, before we go on with this, let's have a look at stuff that's available from that. I mean, there's a nice little bust there of Talos.
That one's brand new at the moment. That's, funnily enough, that one's, glad you picked that up. That's the latest one from Terry Doyle. Terry Doyle does quite a few stuff for me. He's done the Kraken, he's done the Cyclops, and now he's done Talos, because Talos is quite a nice character, and he does them in this nice size. So us with our eyesights are failing a little bit, it's easier for us to do. Andy, by the way, to answer a question, Andy Copeland is currently working on a Harryhausen piece that people have asked us to do, and we're going to do it. He's just tidying the bits up, so expect pictures of that shortly. So there's more Harryhausen stuff, but this is the Talos one by Terry Doyle.
That's nice. A really good size for your shelf, that, isn't it? It's not taking up too much space, no. But it kind of gets to it. When in the movie, when he starts to move, when they steal the stuff from it, and you hear that noise of the bronze creaking. It's such a great noise. I can hear it. I can hear it with dreams.
Well, the other two, the Kraken and the Cyclops, are same sort of size, and this is the original. This
is the original one, isn't it?
This is the full size bust that he did originally when he first did it, which is a lovely big piece.
Colossal, colossal, but it doesn't weigh much, does it? It's quite
No,
good.
it's a lovely piece.
It's nice
Terry,
to cast. Beautiful.
We
surface.
started off on this size because we tend to do centerpieces, but then we thought, well, we'll make them a little bit more achievable and do them kind of affordable, which is why we do the smaller ones as well.
I must admit, I look at that every week and think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's a lovely piece.
It's
a lovely piece. You've got the Cyclops as well. Is that from a different film?
Cyclops we'll come to in a minute. We've got some other stuff there, and we've got dinosaurs there. This is the next one I just wanted to briefly talk about. This is 20 million miles to Earth, which has got a monster in it called the Ymir. Now the Ymir here is supposed to be from Venus.
Right.
And it comes down to Earth in the spacecraft as like an egg, and it grows. It's a little scene here, and this is a famous little Harryhausen trick where he has the small baby monster in front of you growing bit by bit, and you have people standing behind it looking at it, and then stuff in the foreground. So it really looks encased within the movie. He did the same thing with the little prehistoric horse in Valley of the Guanji, where the people will stood around this little circus table with this little tiny miniature horse running around the table.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. But in this, the Ymir starts off as like a cute little thing, and it grows into this giant monster. And at the end of it is another still here where he actually fights an elephant.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And it's dead sad because the elephant dies, and everybody goes, "Oh no, the elephant's dead." But it was a real elephant to start with. Then the elephant becomes an animation, and he intercuts the animation with the real sort of animals seamlessly. He gets it really, really well.
So there's reoccurring things that are coming here, isn't there?
Yeah, the
subject matters. He tends to have a style and a kind of look, doesn't he? Dinosaur.
Yeah, he likes monsters and legendary creatures, but they're not just animated. He imbues them with an emotional life. Like if you go to Simbad and the Eye of the Tiger, there's a troglodyte, which is just like big caveman, and he gets killed by a tiger in the end, and you feel really bad for the puppet.
For the
troglodyte, because he actually gives it. And the Ymir as well, you can kind of sympathise with the monsters because it's circumstances beyond their control that's turned them into monsters. I know this is a recurring theme we have, isn't it?
And he likes his dinosaurs, doesn't he?
You see,
what does the word dinosaur actually mean?
Dinosaur means giant lizard or terrible lizard.
Terrible lizard.
A terrible lizard or giant lizard. Dino means big, but it can also mean terrible. It's Latin and Greek and stuff.
That doesn't make sense then, because I thought they were awesome. Nowadays they're terrible. They're only about as big, aren't they?
Well, a lot of little dinosaurs are very
How
vicious.
How could they be terrible? They were huge, mate.
They were huge.
They're
but,
tiny, they're only this big now.
I think the beauty of the dinosaur is that he tapped into a vein that was in every schoolboy, wasn't it? Because every schoolboy loves a dinosaur.
Everyone likes dinosaurs, don't they?
The best ones of now there's two dinosaur movies. First of all, obviously, and 1 million years BC. I watched this as a kid. Raka Welch did nothing for me. I hasten to add. Didn't even notice her.
Really?
There's so many dinosaurs in that movie.
You didn't notice Raka Welch?
I did in the end. But not at first, because I was just like the dinosaur. Yeah. But Raka Welch was in this movie. There's a very famous fight scene with the Allosaurus where the guy spears him on the end of a piece of wood.
That's it, yeah.
It's just genius. It's just genius. And
you're appealing to the dads as well, there, aren't
and
you?
the dad. Well, this is the beauty of a Ray Harryhausen movie.
Lads and dads, you're appealing to.
Lads and dads, isn't it? That was a Saturday morning.
Got his head screwed on.
Yeah, he had his head screwed on. I mean, Raka Welch. I mean, it was great. I think it was filmed on one of the Spanish islands. I think it was the Canaries or someplace. Yeah. And it was freezing cold at the time, so she does really well.
When were these films out? What?
60s. This was 1966. I think it was 63 for Jason and the Argonauts. So Jason and the Argonauts 63.
So these were being done as we were very young children.
Oh, I was like, this was like I explained the other day. This is the reason I got
20 years
Jason.
after that. I wish.
I wish. So there's this. This is not his only dinosaur movie, but this was his crowning achievement in terms of his dinosaurs, which makes me want to show you this. There you go. Star Ace. Now, Star Ace have the license, don't they, for Ray Harryhausen products? Yeah. They do a lot of different ones. You name it, they do it. But this is one of my favourites. This is the Triceratops from a million years BC.
You've got one of them, haven't you?
I've got one of those. And it's very much like the Aurora Prehistoric Scenes one, which brings me to... This movie launched millions of kits eventually. But at the time, Aurora decided to make some dinosaurs with some cave people. which was very much like the premise of the movie, Aurora Prehistoric Scenes. If you
These
look
are
at
lovely.
this,
These
this
are
is lovely.
gorgeous. These are
Now,
lovely.
what we were talking about last week, we were talking about vinyl kits, weren't we?
Vinyl kit, yeah.
This is a vinyl kit.
It's like almost like the Rolls Royce in it of vinyl.
Oh, it's yeah, but they're not like they're not short. They're not amateur vinyl kits. These are top class. I suppose the reason that these are good in vinyl is because they're so big that to make them as an injection molded kit would be difficult to get. Once the parts are made, because of the cooling of the plastic and stuff like that, they would be a little bit smaller than this.
They're all trimmed and ready, so you don't have to cut your finger off like Dave did.
There's no flash on these kits. It's pre-done.
Some of them have got separate eyes, so you can adjust
Yeah,
the eye.
you can with this kit. The eyes are separate, and what you can do is you can buy glass eyes, doll maker's eyes, and replace them with doll maker's eyes.
So if you're a little bit iffy about painting eyes, guys, the eyes on this creature here, they're separate. So
they clip in from the back.
Do they?
So you can put your doll maker's eye in it and put some like resin putty over it to hold it in place.
Yeah.
And then you've got a lifelike eye.
Brilliant.
It's the same with the Allosaurus.
They're not cheap.
No, but
they're worth it. What I find with these guys is people are buying two, which is good for me, and they're building and painting one and putting one away because some of them are starting to pop up because they're only limited.
Valuable.
It's about 400.
Yeah, I've had a look on some secondary market on eBay and they're going for quite a price.
Yeah.
It's hard to get older than they're rare kits, these.
What I suggest you do if you see these is and you're into one, bite the bullet because
Buy 'em. Yeah.
I've got a set and I've kept them. I don't know why.
You do,
but I've got them. But they are tending to get a bit of secondary value now, which is bizarre because they're not that old.
Well, I saw the original Harryhausen models in Edinburgh about 3 or 4 years ago when they had a Harryhausen exhibition on. They had everything there from the skeletons to the dinosaurs to all sorts of stuff. And I have to say, these are carbon copies of the originals. They're so accurate. It's hard to believe they're not cast from the originals because they're bigger than the originals.
I think a lot
That's
of
the beauty of these.
I think a lot of the sculpting was done by a guy called Joe Lodati. So
Yeah,
Joe did
he's a dinosaur guy.
Oh yeah, he loves the stuff.
Brilliant.
Joe's great.
Yeah.
Joe did us Joe's done the Medusa for us and the Curse of the Demon, and to be fair, he loves his Harryhausen stuff, so it's going to be quality. If you can see them, guys, they're not cheap. But if you see them and you're really into them, get yourself one. I mean, I tend to. I got them. I just like the box. I just think they look really cool. The box looks all weathered and
it does. The box is like a vintage box, isn't it? It looks pre-weathered. It's beautiful done. They've got fantastic instructions. Not that you need them because it's just obvious, but they've really taken it to the nth degree.
That's Star Ace kits, guys.
Yeah.
And they basically we stock them, but we only stock a limited. So you'd have to basically, when we pre-order them, we'd pre-order you one. You don't have to pay anything, but if you wanted to get on the list, please contact us, and then we pre-order them. I think Bill likes them as well, so we get Bill on. We always get Bill one, don't we, Bill?
You get them out of the box, and you don't want to build them because they're so lovely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're so big. The Aurora Prehistoric Scenes were about 1/13th, and they were quite big. And when I was a kid, I had this 1/13th T-Rex, which was huge. I thought, that's got to be the bees. And these are slightly bigger. I'd say they're more like 1/10th.
Yeah.
So, which brings me to Joe Lodati and the next movie, which is, just indulge me. I know it's another dinosaur movie, but right, I know, but it's Valley of the Guanji. It's probably the only dinosaur versus cowboys movie. So at the time this was made in '69, westerns were big.
You love
TV
it, don't
westerns.
you? You love them, don't you?
Love what TV
Do you
westerns?
think it's underrated?
Westerns.
Westerns with dinosaurs.
Oh, western with dinosaurs. That's got to be worth a remake. Come on.
It's like me with my gorillas on them.
Oh, gorillas and machine guns,
Yeah, it's
mate.
like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs and cowboys, gorillas and machine guns. So, Joe Lodati's famous kit, he did a Guanji kit, a resin Guanji kit.
Oh,
so
right.
Joe did a resin Guanji kit, which is the Allosaurus from Guanji, which is different from the Allosaurus from a million years BC, ever so slightly, but the million years BC one's quite a small version of it, but this is a full-size Guanji. Sad end to this movie. Dinosaurs, monsters, they always get it in the end.
Yeah.
Very unfair on this guy. They could have took the dinosaur back to where he was and just let him go, but did they know they had to persecute him?
And kill him.
So they killed him. So Guanji. So the ones in between that perhaps is famous for is the Simbad movies. So
Right.
this is from the Simbad movies, isn't it? This is the Cyclops. This comes in different sizes too, doesn't it?
There's a small bust.
The small bust.
And there's also this big one. It comes with the
comes
arms.
with the arms. There's one already painted up there, but once again, beautiful texture.
Terry Doyle. Terry's done 2 sets of hands. You can have one set of hands that's kind of up like on the movie poster, and then one set of hands that's down. He's also done the bus, which is up there. I'll try and get it in a second.
Yeah.
But he's also done them. I'll just let you get this one.
I mean, what I love about these, Dave, is the size and is so big, but the weight is
They're rotocast.
they're rotocast, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they're slightly hollow, are they, in the middle?
Yeah.
They're rotocast.
There's
the head.
That's the head. Well, that's the twin horn version.
Twin, yeah.
And there's also a single horn.
Hang on, version. There you go.
I didn't realise there was 2 horns, but apparently
I don't know, but I've seen that somewhere before. I've seen that image of the thing with the 2 horns, but this one.
2 horns.
Yeah.
So that's that one. So it's basically the same head.
Yeah.
But what he did is Terry kindly went away and reworked that. It is going to be available in a single version as well.
Yeah, it's got that little mould line on the back,
Yeah,
hasn't it?
yeah, that's
I
where we
love
cut
it when
it.
you see stuff where you cut the mould. So this once again Simbad. Now Simbad, the ultimate Simbad movie for me, of course, is Simbad and the Eye of the Tiger. Absolutely nothing to do with Jane Seymour being in it.
No,
Obviously not. The Bond girl, Jane Seymour, from Live and Let Die.
never noticed, mate.
Didn't notice. There is the picture, and it's called Simbad and the Eye of the Tiger. The tiger is also known as the Guardian of the Temple, I think. Now, Joe Bailey did a Simbad saber-toothed tiger.
He did Joe in his fur is superb.
Yeah, when it comes to animals, Joe loves animals.
Yeah.
And his ability to recreate them, particularly dogs and cats and wildlife, is second to none, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic.
The thing is about this movie, though, the tiger and the troglodyte are probably the best bits, because you've got a giant hornet, which is a little bit... You've got a baboon, which is the prince is turned into a baboon. That's why they have to go and find the elixir from the temple.
Right.
And the baboon, like a lot of Ray Harryhausen, that animated baboon is actually in amongst the action. So he does a great job of creating it. Now, at this point in time, people were starting to feel that the effect, the stop motion, was getting a little bit dated.
How did he keep up with times then?
Well, he kept up with the times by, first of all, he reflected what was going on.
Yeah.
So when they wanted flying saucers in the 50s, he gave them flying saucers. When they wanted westerns, he gave them a western.
So he was pretty
Pretty much in key with what it was, and he was quite resistant to the studios in a sense. He only did what he wanted to do.
Right, okay.
So people asked him to do stuff he just didn't want to do, and he didn't do it. And because of the length of process that it takes, there's 4 years between each of these movies. He only did 16 movies.
Wow.
Or 16 major sort of theatrical events.
What was his final film?
Well, his final film, it has to be Clash of the Titans. Now, this is 1980 now. 91, sorry. Now, what I did there, you can see I did my homework, but I forgot. I used the same format as I did for Jason the Argonauts, and that says Calibos, not...
Right, okay.
So I'm just explaining why you got the bit of felt.
Oh, right, okay.
It says Calibos. So you've got Calibos there. You've got the Kraken. You've got Pegasus. You've got the giant scorpion fight. And you've also got a little mechanical owl that we hate. I hate anyway. He's like the mechanical owl in Clash of the Titans is basically...
Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar Binks. It's R2-D2.
Yeah.
It's anything you don't Scrappy do.
Scrappy
Everybody sort of thinks, oh, I love that movie, but I wish that owl wasn't there. Now, tell us, in the comments, please tell us if you're fans of the owl. But there was a little bit.
We won't hold it against you.
You won't
honestly.
hold it against you. In the CGI remake of Clash of the Titans, the character finds the owl in a chest looking for a sword. And he picks it up and says, "What the hell is this?" And he chucks it in the corner. So it's not just me that doesn't like the owl, but the owl was a kind of an R2-D2 thing.
That spawned some great pieces.
81, and that was his last movie, which we'll talk about in a minute. But here we go. This is perhaps the ultimate
Release the Kraken.
Release the Kraken. It's got arms, hasn't it? Tentacle
Yeah.
arms. It's got arms. But I just want you to see this. Now, interesting thing about this, the face of the Kraken is near enough the face of the Ymir in 20 million miles to Earth. Yeah. He reused the face, or at least some of the image of the face, because he so loved that creature, because it was one of his early ones. He redid the face in this. So when I saw this as a kid, I think that looks terribly familiar. And of course, I'd only seen 20 million miles from Earth once. Yeah. And I saw this about 4 times in the cinema, because it really was a great movie at the time. I remember sitting in the ABC the Odeon in Chester. Apologies, Odeon, but I paid once and I slumped down in the seat and I watched the feature about 4 times on the run. so at the Odeon, I owe you about, what would it be?
£4 quid.
£4 quid.
I think we can manage that.
But I mean, this is a huge kit, and once again, it's also available.
As a smaller version.
As a smaller
bus to about here.
But there's an even bigger version of this, isn't there? There's the
Star Race one.
Star Race one is absolutely massive.
Huge.
Huge.
It's expensive.
Right. It's expensive,
but it's worth it.
The only kit we didn't get to look at is this.
Cyclops.
Is the Cyclops. Now, this is X Plus.
Which is kind of connected to...
Company.
They're kind of connected. Please correct us if we're wrong. I kind of get the vibe that these guys are connected somewhere with Star Race. So I think they deal with the styrene side of things.
But that's the point about this kit. Harryhausen is such a big bit of business these days that they are willing to invest into the cost of an injection moulding kit. This is styrene. Now, the reason I'm picking it up, because you might say, oh, it's styrene, it's not a garage kit, but kind of is a garage kit in the sense that it's quite rare.
Yeah. It goes up, which is mad. The price of them is...
Look at the box. That box
it's lovely.
is like an Aurora box from the 1970s.
They've definitely got a bit of nostalgia, haven't they?
Definite nostalgia. Look at the beauty of that painting. It's like...
It's lovely, isn't it?
I can just hear the parts rattling. That was wrapped in Christmas paper, Darren, from you shaking it. You did brilliant. So Harryhausen. I'm not an expert. I'm a fan.
Yeah, Bill's obsession with the styrene is second to none. I mean, I remember he told me about the story when he used to go out into the garage, didn't he? And he used to sit there. Remember rattling the boxes in the garage? And what did your wife shout? Why don't you watch?
Yeah, she shouted all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, why don't you watch dirty movies like the normal bloke?
I've got the solicitor on the phone. Why can't you watch porn like everybody else? Yeah. So, and we're just going to finish off with this because we talked about Harryhausen himself. I mean, he's. Let me just get my pictures back. 1920, 2013. That's long ago than I thought. I didn't realise it had been that long since he died. Wow. But you can see this is a beautiful likeness, isn't it?
This is by Joe Bailey. This is available for themselves. I mean, it's a tribute bust. He did a Stephen King as well, and he's currently in the process of doing another tribute, which is a bit off key. We have discussed it and thrashed it out, and it's what we tend to do is we tend to get iconic characters, and then put all the creations or the different characters that are connected with that on the bust there, so you kind of get a feel for it. If I just
I mean, this is a good thing for your shelf because not only do you get a big Harryhausen, you also get the creatures as well.
There's a Stephen
King one.
There's a Stephen King one.
This is not a shelf killer. This is a shelf filler.
But you've got all your characters.
But you've got your characters, you see. I mean, that one's. Look at that. You've got them all, haven't you?
Yeah, on that one.
And you got the Gorgon, you've got the Skeleton, the Children, the Hydra, you've got the Cyclops, Talos, and you've got Trog there, the troglodyte. Look on the corner from.
How did Ray finish then? What did he do? What was his bow out?
He bowed out. He basically said that he wanted to make. He'd had several projects he's always wanted to make. War of the Worlds was one of them, and he did have a slight association with a guy called George Pell that made the 1950s War of the World. He worked for George Pell making these like puppetoons back in the 50s and 60s, and he wanted to make that, and he had another couple of things in the pipeline, and he had these beautiful sketches for it. He'd storyboarded all these things, but he just couldn't get the studios to support it. Now, at the time of, say, Clash of the Titans, There was another guy doing animation called Phil Tippett. And he did the animation on Ghostbusters and stuff like that. So animation was still part of it, but it was animation in conjunction with real-time rubber effects. You know, like you know, that sort of like like Planet of the Apes type rubber masks and stuff like that. So that was coming along, but also animatronics. So things like The Thing, which is great, that used animatronics, which meant that you could have life-size real-time effects.
Yeah.
You also had computer control, which was coming in.
Yeah.
Ray was still like hands-on, whereas Phil Tippett realised that if you animated stuff and then you used the computer to blur the stills, you get a much smoother flow. Yeah. So by the time Jurassic Park came out, Spielberg was in two minds, and Spielberg's Jurassic Park was definitely influenced by Ray Harryhausen's work, and you can actually see some scenes that were filmed, particularly the raptor in the kitchen scene, which were filmed using stop motion puppets.
Right.
And then he got it remade using the CGI, and basically realised the CGI was a little bit better, in a sense. Now, if you look at Jurassic Park, which is a kind of a lead on from all the Harryhausen stuff, you've got to say to yourself, would Jurassic Park have come about if it wasn't for Harryhausen inspiring Spielberg? I doubt it.
No.
Also, though, it was the first big CGI movie where CGI was up to the point where it could battle with stop motion. Yeah. And as the technology became available, it just became cheaper and quicker. Yeah. And whereas Harryhausen was spending 4 years doing the visual effects, you know, the CGI meant that it could be done eventually much quicker.
Do you not think we've gone a bit far now? Do you not think the effects have gone back more? To me, I prefer a little bit of practical effects now.
I like practical effects. Yeah.
Do you not think it looks a bit sterile? It's getting sterile now.
It does. The Thing sequel that they made had a combination of real-time effects and CGI.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, you could really tell between the two.
Right, okay.
Because the real-time effects, like in the original Thing, have a really visceral, bloody quality to them.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's happening in front of you. There's no sleight of hand. That is what you're seeing. As gruesome and as fantasy as it is, it's what you see. Whereas you add a bit of CGI, it gives you that kind of smoothness.
Yeah, I see all these Marvel films now, and I just kind of go to sleep when I see all these creatures going through the air, and I think, yeah, I've kind of seen that now. I
think that's the problem with the movie industry as it stands. Effects are so commonplace that even ordinary scenes are now created using effects. Actors can virtually do everything in front of a green screen, and they can put anything in the background.
Yeah, it's like me with the apes, I suppose. When I see they're fantastic. I really enjoy the new apes films, but I prefer the old stuff.
Yeah, but there's an actor. They still rely very much on the actors.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, I like them.
But I prefer the ones where there's a guy. I just love them.
Just something naughty and traditional about them.
No, but going back to the kit side, so if you had to pick a kit that you would say favourite,
Harryhausen.
Yeah, because I'll tell you why. Because Monsters in Motion did a fantastic kit years ago with Jason fighting the skeletons. Now I know as a model producer, that's an absolute
it's a nightmare. Those tiny little bits.
Yeah, the rib cages just gives me nightmares. And we've got the sculpts and stuff. You know, we could go tomorrow with them, but it's just reproducing them rib cages and the tiny little fingers and the legs. So that's why there's not been many of the Children of the Hydra.
That's right. I think what happens with Children of the Hydra, there was a vinyl kit, wasn't there? I saw it at the model show. There was a vinyl kit of two of the skeletons.
That was the X Plus.
That's one. X Plus.
Well, I know it's Star Ace.
Star Ace. It was Star Ace vinyl.
But it's a statue. It's not actually come out as a vinyl.
Oh right.
Which kind of thinks to me something's going on.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the scariest characters. To them, you know.
Oh, the animation in that, and they've got he's sculpted the skull so there's like a little bit of a pointy brow.
Yeah.
So they look evil and menacing, don't they?
Yeah,
and
I like them. That's one of my favourite characters out of his own. It's just when you get up out of the ground. I mean, to me that one depicts Harryhausen, the Jason fighting on the top.
I don't see how that scene in particular could ever be bettered, because it's so seamless and so well done. Even though it's animation in a sense that stop motion has become such a thing that people accept it. And that scene in particular is so flawless.
It's clunky and it's nice, isn't it?
But it can't be better, can it?
No.
It can't be better because you know it's not real because it's a skeleton.
Yeah.
So does it matter that it's slightly jerky?
No.
I don't think it does,
No,
does
I
it?
like
And I think if you tried to change it in any way, everybody go, CGI skeleton, no big deal.
So go on then. Which one?
For me, my favourite is Guanji.
The dinosaur.
The dinosaur. It's the Star Ace Guanji. It's the Allosaurus.
That one that you reviewed at the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning of when we started this. That is my favourite because, first of all, it's a dinosaur. Secondly, because Guanji is a great movie and I love it. And dinosaurs, as I explained in that video, have become something else now. They've become almost bird-like and almost realistic. I'm a very old-fashioned view of my favourite dinosaurs look like big reptiles.
Yeah.
And that Allosaurus looks like has all the beauty of a crocodile in terms of the texture.
Yeah.
But it has all the ferocity of a lion.
Yeah.
And when you watch it on the movie Guanji, you watch it, it's just, I don't know, maybe it's a childhood thing, Dave, I don't know. It's a childhood thing. Yeah.
Well, that seems to wrap it up.
That's it. Yeah. Well, there's a ton more we could do about it, but we've reminisced and we've like sort of almost deified him in a sense because in terms of cinema, he is one of the gods.
Yes, definitely. Going forward, guys, just to let you know, there are from Killer Kits. There are going to be a couple more Harryhausen pieces that we have got planned. Watch this space. Andy's putting the finishing touches on one as we speak, and I think Joe's got one coming sometime in this year. So there are going to be some Harryhausen resin kits that we do. We have planned a tribute style kit, big kit as we call. We leave it every couple of years, and it's going to be like a limited run one. It's not Ray Harryhausen, Ian. Sorry, mate. Sorry to disappoint you. It's not Ray. It's a different thing altogether. We've drawn inspirations from people, and we're going to put our little taste on it. Expect pictures to surface sometimes in the summer. We've got Steve Thompson has done the honours on the main figures. Andy and Darren Kent are doing the honours on the rest of the diorama style thing. It will be limited, so guys, please don't contact me after they've sold out. I do tell everybody this is limited. I'm sorry, it's not fair for the guys that buy the limited edition ones. There will be a box, signed certificate. It will be signed exactly the same as last time. It'll be a little bit more expensive than a normal range, but you're buying something that's limited edition. You guys seem to like these limited edition things. We'll do our best to put some nice little bits and pieces in there for you, but we're going to concentrate on the actual piece itself so that you've got another quality diorama style kit. But that will be surfacing sometime. The pictures will be released sometime in the summer. I have got the figures. We are working on modding them and getting them ready for production, so it's going to be a nice little Christmas for you. So I know I'm early, but you guys, if you want to buy something for Christmas, or your wife or someone else's wife wants to buy it, this is the one. All right. So hopefully, I hope you liked the video. If you did, smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the like button. Take care.
Bye bye.